The stanza, beginning with the line, "What is that sound high in the air?" presents a somewhat surrealistic picture of Europe after the conclusion of the First World War. We get images of social turmoil, economic collapse, political revolution, and individual hysteria. The world as we know it has come to an end. Society as we understand it has ceased to exist. We find mothers weeping, lamenting for their sons who lost their lives in the Great War. We find crowds moving chaotically. We find cracks. We find outbursts. We find the towers of churches falling. What the poet wants to suggest is that Europe has been completely overtaken by unprecedented chaos. In his notes, T.S. Eliot admits that he was profoundly influenced by the book A Glimpse into Chaos, published in 1920 by the German novelist, short story writer, poet Hermann Hesse. Hermann Hesse is dear to us, dear to the people of Kerala, because he is a grandson of Hermann Gundert, the German missionary who wrote a grammar of the Malayalam language, who translated the Bible into Malayalam, and who put together a Malayalam English dictionary. But this is by the way. At the end of the stanza, the poet says, Jerusalem, Athens, Alexandria, Vienna, London, unreal. The poet wants to make it clear that no part of Europe has been exempted from this turmoil. The great cities of Europe have suddenly become unreal. They are no longer what they once were. They have submitted themselves to socio-political turmoil, to economic collapse, and cultural decay. An overwhelming moral degeneration has spread over Europe. Please do not think that this is the eccentric vision of a rather mentally unstable bank clerk, unhappy with his wife, his job, and his finances, lost in his own thoughts, in the isolation of Lausanne in Switzerland. On the other hand, this is something which was shared by poets, by writers, by intellectuals all over the West, especially those with a rather conservative ideological orientation. I have said this before, I would like to say it again. The wasteland in general, and this verse paragraph in particular, can be brought into conjunction, can be profitably brought into conjunction with another equally famous poem by a great contemporary of T.S. Eliot. The poem I have in mind is The Second Coming of W.B. Yeats, which was written more or less at the same time as the magnum opus of T.S. Eliot was written. W.B. Yeats wrote The Second Coming in 1919, and it was published in the Dial in 1920. And like this verse paragraph of The Wasteland, The Second Coming attempts to capture and succeeds in capturing the bloodshed, the confusion, the turmoil, the degeneration, the decay, the spiritual death that has overtaken Europe. I would like to remind you that the second coming opens thus: turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. I hope I'm right, for I'm quoting from memory. Of course, I'm right.